guys, I'm Aussie and welcome to episode 80 of the Hearts of Midlothian Save. It's a summer transfer special today as we work through the summer looking to build a team that will, we want to retain everything we won in Scotland this year, and we want to see if we can go just a little bit further in Europe and maybe sneak into a European final. Which comes straight back. You can see we're still here after the end of season awards. Sean Clare, of course, took home the honours just ahead of Dimitri Mitchell last season. And if you haven't seen Goal of the Season yet, we do have our own competition. Go back and watch last episode. There's a compilation at the end and you can vote for your favourite goal of the season, of last season. Of course, don't just watch the end, watch the whole thing. It's probably worth it, I would say. Now, let's have a quick look and see how the squad did last year and what we need to look to strengthen this season. If we look at games played, you can see it was He Who and it was Coping that were just rocks all season there in the centre of our defence. Inaki Dominguez, we do have him back on loan for this upcoming season along with Curtis Jones as well, so they're both coming back. But Hartford, Lancaster, Greg Taylor played a lot of games last year. So Dimitri Mitchell, we just played a lot of games last year apparently, but there we go. Darnell Johnson was good for us as well, wasn't he? Sean Clare, both as a starter and off the bench, to have 11 sub appearances and still play 7.36. That's impressive. That really is impressive. Uche, we thought he had a quiet year, still scored 15 goals. Not too bad from him either. Harry Cochrane was a star. Look at all these guys playing lots and lots of games. If we go down towards the bottom, these are the guys that didn't really play. Ethan Hamilton we need to look to get rid of. That's a third choice goalkeeper and a young winger who I don't know that is ever going to actually make it, to be honest. We might look to sell him on with a sell-on clause. Ewan Henderson, I think he might be another one. I think we've moved past Ewan Henderson. Good player he has been for us, but we didn't use him last year at all. Who else here? Rossiter, we know we've moved past him. Some youngsters. The number of games we played, McNeil played a lot of games off the bench, but I still rate him very highly, so I don't necessarily want to get rid of him just yet. Maybe one for the loans, depending on who we get in the transfer market. And we can see here, Usi Tutu, maybe we could look to move on as a sort of a third choice right back, but lots of people playing lots of games, which is good. Of course, the big question we have is Rian Brewster, is whether we get him back on loan or not. $9,000 a week. What we'll do, I think my plan is to have a look and see what else is available, and that we might look to keep him. I think just because he was good value as a backup. If we're not paying anything for the first choice in Curtis Jones, then we're basically paying $4,500 a week for both of them, for first and second choice right wingers. So maybe that's worth it. If we look at goals, it was Sean Clare just ahead of Lancaster that got the golden boot. Uche, as I said, still right up there in the goals. Claire McDonald scored a lot of goals. Maybe he's our answer as backup right winger. I just don't know that he's got the complete quality to play in Europe, if I'm honest. But 13 goals from 16 appearances doesn't lie, does it? Turnbull, Brewster, Innes Cameron had a poor year. Played roughly the same amount of games as Uche and half the goals. So that sort of tells the story there, doesn't it? Dominguez, Hartford, only 5 goals. We'd like to see that improve, but not too bad. Harry Cochrane's up there. He Who with 5 goals was a centre-back as well. Buckley, I thought, was quite good. At times last year. We can see all the other goal scorers down there. If we look at assists, we know it's Dimitri Mitchell. He's the assist machine. Dominguez and Hartford as well. Dozzell had a decent first year with 8 assists. Some of those are going to be from corners. He's a good corner taker. But Jones, Usi Tutu's up there as well. Look at that, 5 assists from his 9 starts. Yes, he plays against lesser teams, but that's still pretty impressive. Darnell Johnson's up there as well. We can see the other guys in average ratings. Dimitri Mitchell, absolute star he was last year. Just ahead of Usi Tutu again. Doesn't play that many games, but does play well when he does play. Anthony McDonald, surprise. Looking at these now, I think we're underusing him perhaps, because that's very impressive. Fitzgerald might be another one. He's a youngster. He's a club-trained player, which I do like, but if we're not going to use him, maybe he's wanted as well. Maybe we do look to move him on. But Jones, Porty O'Connor as well, another good option at centre-back. Archie Proctor, another good option at centre-back. Look at these match ratings. Look at this, all the way down. We don't have hardly anybody. Look at that, all the way down. These two are out on loan. So all the way down to sort of guys that we know had poor seasons in the case of Innes Cameron, or were just backup players and never played. Essentially, everybody that we use on a semi-regular basis, and some we didn't, averaged over 7. We've got a really good young team here. And I'm really just excited to see what we can do this summer. To be honest, I don't really know what to expect. My main concern is if we look here at everybody that's wanted by other clubs. So we've got Turner, who's a youngster, so he can stay. He's going to want it on loan. Oh no, Liverpool, Sunderland, so there might be a little bit of trouble there for him. McStay's another one, a youngster. We should be able to see that off. Colin McNeil, we should be able to see Aberdeen off. Luke Fitzgerald, again, we should, if we want to keep him, we should be able to. Wanted by Celtic. I don't want Porty O'Connor going there. Bobby Coping might be one. I just wonder if he's as I said, I think at some point last year, I'm wondering if we look to retrain him as a DM, because he has good passing, good vision. I just worry about physically if he's up to playing as a centre-back. But as a ball-playing centre-back, I do like him. Archie Proctor's wanted by Forest. He's a good player as well. Yeah, this is what worries me. Lancaster, wanted by Stoke. I don't think you can afford him, Stoke, to be honest. Stoke also want Dozzell. He who's wanted by a couple of teams in England as well. So that is what worries me a little bit. I'm fairly certain there's going to be some others that are going to come under attention. I mean, I can't see what's his face, Hartford not being wanted by clubs again. Right now he's not, but you know, I mean, we were fighting off Arsenal for him last year, so we'll have to wait and see. What we'll do is we'll come back. There should be a commercial summary up here, not too far distance, and then we'll just see where the summer takes us. Do I keep Rhian Brewster for next season or not? Decisions. Hello? Oh, Madam Chairwoman, to what do I owe the honour? You're cancelling the stadium expansion? What the hell? Come on, how do you expect me to compete with Celtic financially in a stadium half the size? I'm sorry, what? You're building a new stadium? Oh, that is amazing. Thank you so much. Can we call it Aussie Villain Arena? Hello? Okay, we have our commercial summary, but let's not worry about that right now. But as we've just seen, I haven't seen yet. I don't know what the plan is, but we're building a new stadium. There it is. Everything is up in the air. Fantastic. So the board announced plans for a new stadium in the process and searching for suitable locations and investors. The main reason is the decision that the Jambos need to accommodate a bigger crowd. I've been saying that since we took over. Due to high demand of tickets at their current Tynecastle Park. The board, however, pointed out that this will not be a smooth process, and it will be some times before fans can be finalised and put into action. The main thing is we're building a new stadium. I mean, the downside to that is that we've had this cancelled, but I'm okay with that as long as we can get this new stadium underway. Now, do we have any other information? I really want it to be called the Aussie. Is there any chance it could be called the Aussie Villain Stadium? How do I stand in the club here? It could be the Uche Stadium. I'd be okay with the Uche Stadium. That would be okay. We haven't actually looked at this, have we? But Uche is a legend of the club. That's fair enough. Anything else here? Dimitri Mitchell is an icon. I mean, they should both be legends, really. There we go. So myself and Claire are favoured personnel. I'm probably not going to get the stadium named after me just yet. But let's go with Uche. We want Uche Park. That would be something good. So if we go back to the board here, what does it say here about the stadium? Nothing really. If we go back to facilities, does it say anything about stage? So with playing capacity of 31,000. So I mean, it's not that big of an increase really, but it's better than nothing, and it's edging up towards that sort of Celtic level, isn't it? We probably should look to upgrade facilities, see if we can get state-of-the-art facilities there as well. So we might look to do that. But let's go back and have a look at this commercial summary. Let's have a look here. Sponsorship last season was up. Was that all we make in sponsorship? We've got to be doing more than that. Come on. Who's running this financial department? Corporate hospitality, prawn sandwiches were up. Matchday revenue was up. Broadcast revenues were down a little bit. That seems a little bit wrong, considering we were both in the Champions League and League Champions. Look at that competition prize money. 29 million. Almost 20 million more than 20 million more than the previous season. Shirt sales, just under 2 million in that, with about 10% being non-domestic. Uche number 1, Clare number 2, Cochrane, Hartford and Lancaster. I think that's, if we were betting on the top 5, you wouldn't be far off that, with your accumulator, would you? So all fair enough there. We've got our new scouting budget as well. But the big thing here is that we are getting a new stadium. I'm going to call it Uche Arena. Okay, we have a few Scottish awards to announce here that have been announced, but a few other things we're doing. We are upgrading the facilities, so you can see we're doing the data analysis facilities, that's 1.8. We're doing the regular facilities for just under 5, and we're doing the youth facilities for just over 5. Yes, that's going to put a big dent in the finances, but it's going to be a big increase into the club reputation, and you can't have too good of facilities. And the other thing is that we guaranteed Champions League group stage money, so we're pretty much just reinvesting that Champions League money back into the ground, and we should still have this 10 million here to spend. So I think that all works out. The other thing that we are doing is we're going to Australia. We're going to Australia for our pre-season camp. We probably should have gone to Korea, given that that's where we have an affiliate club. But Australia was an option, so I'm going home. I'm going to have a business trip and cast it as a family holiday. So let's have a look here. Dimitri Mitchell was the Players' Player of the Year. Well done to him. He is just... He's the gift that keeps on giving, isn't he? What a signing he's been. Dimitri Mitchell also claimed the Football Writers is that Player of the Year. Ahead of 2 Celtic scum, so that's good to see as well. Hearts Players in Team of the Year, Dimitri Mitchell, well done to him. Dimitri Mitchell dedicates awards to me left, right and centre. Am I a favoured personnel? I have to be at this point, don't I? So if I look here, got an itchy nose. Yes, I am favoured personnel. But, I mean, let's just take a minute to appreciate Dimitri Mitchell. He is worth almost £11 million now. We signed him on a free transfer, and look, he's just been an amazing player. He's just someone that we basically inherited when we came in. Got him back on loan a couple of years, and then he's just been a god amongst men ever since then. So yeah, I do like Dimitri Mitchell. Anyway, that's sort of, I think, all the awards done now. Let's wait and see how the transfer window plays out. Alright, breaking news. We have a new affiliate club. It is Perth Glory in the Australian A-League. We had a couple of options. I wanted to try and get another option for merchandising, basically try and get us in some more money. It was Perth, it was Adelaide, it was Penn FC or Charleston in the US. I think the US would be a better option, but they're not top flight clubs. So I went with a top flight Australian club in Perth Glory. Hopefully it'll work out, and we'll see sort of some more benefit for that. And I will keep trying to get these affiliate clubs in, because I do think we already have one there in South Korea, and I do think it does benefit everybody if we can do it. So we'll keep looking to do that. Some other news that has happened: we did get Rhian Brewster back on a loan deal for the rest. You can see it's June 1st, so all contracts are coming up at the end of contract period here. But we did get Rhian Brewster back. We have the option to terminate the deal, so that if something better comes up, we're not stuck with him. But I just felt that we know what he can do. We know that he did a decent job for us. $9,000 a week is affordable for us right now, so it's not the worst. Yeah. So anyway, we've got him back for the season, which I think is good news for us. Just trying to clear out some of the unused players in the squad. Now that the contracts are up, there will probably be a few other things that pop up in terms of transfers. Finances are still looking okay. Nothing's really changed there. So yeah, if there's anything else to report, I will come back. But we do obviously have this new affiliate club now. So welcome Perth Glory into the Hearts family. Okay, breaking transfer news. We've made a signing. One for the future here, perhaps. Stephen Eady. You can see the fan reaction is mixed. A right winger from Motherwell. We haven't paid through the teeth for him. You can see very, very pacey, which I like. Balance could do a bit of improvement, but, you know, that'll come with time, I'm sure. Good heading, which is good, but dribbling, crossing, I just feel like he has all the sort of the key attributes for a winger, and we'll sort of work on him from there. Like I said, we haven't paid much for him. 70 grand all in. Nothing else to come. Wages are okay, £1,000 a week, just over £1,000 a week. He's in here as a backup. We have a number of good young right midfield options. So I'm thinking we'll send at least one, maybe two of them out on loan this year. Because along with Stephen Eady, if we do just go and have a look at the senior squad here, we also have Robbie Taylor as a right winger who's very high potential, and also Neil McStay. So I'm thinking one, if not two of those will go out on loan, and we'll keep a third one in as sort of as a backup option if we need them for cup games and things like that. But yeah, there we go. Stephen Eady is a Hearts player, but like I say, one for the future. I suspect this might be the sort of summer we have. He who has come under a bid from Brighton. It's 12.25 million, rising up to 15.5. We're not going to accept it. Because he who's been a very important player for us this year, was saying in the comments after last episode, I think a quiet achiever this year, just never really put a foot wrong at the back, but you can see there a lot of interest from England, so hopefully there's not going to be much more of this. Right now he's only has a slight interest in speaking to Brighton. It could be a long summer though, because I feel like he's not going to be the only player that has interest from England. So this is of interest. Scotland really moving up in the world. As of next season, 2 teams in the group stage guaranteed, which is incredible. First or second, we've done that the last few years. And then third place gets into a qualifying round. So as long as we finish in the top 3 of the league, which, let's face it, if we don't do it, I think we'll probably be fired at this point. We're going to be in the Champions League, and there's a spot in the automatic group stage as well for 4th. So guaranteed, basically we're guaranteed for group stage European football from this season, because we've already guaranteed it for this year. So really, really good stuff. If we have a quick look at the club coefficients here, because it might be of interest, we can see that we have moved right up in the world. We'll scroll here so it's sort of mid-screen. 54th club, best club in Europe, and that's with 2 zeros in there as well. So, if we keep trucking along here, we're going to soon find ourselves up, I would imagine, sort of in this top 20, maybe, top 30 clubs in Europe, which is absolutely incredible for little old Hearts. But there we go. 2 teams in the Champions League group stage as of next season. We all dream of a team of Lancasters. A team of Lancasters. Hello? Who is it? Oh, I'm sorry, mate. I don't know anybody by that name. You what? You play in the centre of my defence? Oh, it's he who. Oh, sorry, mate. Sorry. How can I help you? You want to join Bournemouth? Why? Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. If they come in with a bid of 25 million, I'll accept it and you can go. Why do you need to hand in a transfer request, mate? I just said what's going to happen. That's fair. I did stop Hartford from joining Arsenal, didn't I? Okay, that's fair enough, but look at him now. He's winning trophies and he's playing in the Champions League. So there we have it. He who has handed in a transfer request. I made the mistake. There was a double bid that came in, both Crystal Palace and Bournemouth. You can see there he wanted to go to Bournemouth. I made the mistake of trying to engage him in a conversation, which never do that, guys. I don't know what I was thinking. Couldn't talk him around, and so he's handed in a transfer request. Now, he's unhappy I rejected their bid. Their bid, it wasn't much. I tried to get 30 million out of them. They just bailed, basically. So I've come to a agreement with he who that if they get 24.5 million, that we'll accept the bid. Will we actually accept the bid? I mean, we might. That's a lot of money for a centre-back at our level. But there we go. There's problems in paradise, and he who has handed in a transfer request. Okay, breaking transfer news, and I'm excited about this one. We've signed another Argentinian, Patricio Drea, I think you'd pronounce that. You can see that the supporters are relatively happy with him. He's going to be on $8,000 a week. We've paid £2.6 million for him. You can see the ins and outs of his contract. The big problem I have with it is this. There was an insistence on a release fee of $5.25 million, which I'm not too thrilled about. Let's have a quick look at him. This is who we've signed here. Now, he is absolutely loved by the scouts. I think the scouts rated him like 93. Concerns I have is the jumping reach, sort of straight off the bat. Physically, he's not perhaps as good as he could be. Passing and vision is not perhaps brilliant either. Mentally, for an 18-year-old, I think he's brilliant. Teamwork's good, positioning's good, work rate is good. The rest of it, as I said, I'm basing it very much on, partly the fact that the scouts loved him, partly on the fact he only cost 2.6, and also partly on the fact that Manchester City were trying to buy him. So I took that all into account. Basically, I wanted to have somebody else, a quality first-team player, should he who sort of up and leave, which he hasn't done as of yet. But should he up and leave, I wanted to have somebody there that we could rely on to sort of step in and not cost us too badly. My thoughts on the release fee it's twofold. First up, if it does come about, where is the release fee? There it is there. If it does come about, we've doubled our money, not quite, but more or less, and we'll go again on another central defender. We can try and renegotiate a contract in a little bit here and see if we can get rid of it. He does want a bit of chunk of wages, 20, 30 games into this season, which I'm not thrilled about. But like I say, I have a feeling that we'll be able to, worst case scenario, sell him on and make a nice little profit from him. Now, we have had, we've been a little bit busy in the transfer market, just mostly outs to report here. So Connor Hazard has officially left. That was kind of all done. He had a loan with a fee last season, so he's gone out to St Mirren. Ethan Hamilton, this was a guy that we bought in from Celtic, I think it was, on a free transfer. On a free. He never really did it for us, so we've sold him for $100,000. I think there's a 50% sell-on clause there for him as well, because he's supposed to be a decently rated prospect. He just never has shown it yet at 24. Ewan Henderson, we did end up selling Ewan Henderson, 375 grand, a 50% sell-on clause again on this guy. He was a good player for us. He scored some cracking goals, not last season, the season before, I think. We just moved past him. To be honest, we've just moved past him. Lancaster and Clare are doing the job there. We have a youngster coming up. Is it Anthony Taylor coming up? So he was just getting bypassed, so we've sold him on. So happy days for him. And Andy Irving. Didn't really want to sell him. I almost did last year. We ended up sending him out on loan. In hindsight, we should have. We sold him this year, 235 grand. I don't even think there's anything sort of a sell-on fee for this guy. We just moved past him, I think. So wish him well, but there we go. So we've bought in 775 grand so far. We've spent 2.7. Finances are still looking good. We still have a little bit of money, about 6 grand a week in the wage budget. We're still trying to get out some players that we're not really using anymore. But yeah, things are looking okay. I've got nothing else really planned. Let me know what you think of Dreer. I think he was just more cover in case he who left. And, you know, I'm even tempted now just to try and sell him straight on at his release fee, to be honest. But yeah, we have a signing. 1-1 Aymar. There's only one Aymar. Hello? Oh, Uche, how you doing, mate? Good to hear from you. Excellent. How's your summer? Good, mate, good. Yeah, no, it's going well so far. You know, it is so far so good. What is that in the background? Why do you have Pharrell blaring, mate? Oh, because you're happy. I get it, mate, I get it. Excellent news, mate. Really, really glad to hear it. Excellent news. Uche set to stay at Hearts. He is happy at the club once more. He finally, after a year, realised that we didn't replace him. So he's set to stay, which is, needless to say, excellent news. His contract is up at the end of this season. We probably will look to keep him just because even if, you know, we don't use him in the big games or the European games, we know that he can score. I mean, even in a bad year, he's 1-2. We know he can do the job in the, sort of the ins and outs of the league. And that's a very useful player to have. So, Uche happy. If we look at the dynamics now, you can see there's still a few problems, let's say here. We'll give Taylor more first team football. That's fine. He who hopefully that will play itself out. Now you see Burns here. We are looking to possibly sell him. He's one of our young left backs. You can see there's a couple of bids in for him. He has been out on loan for a couple of seasons. He's not really developing, not to the level that we need him to anyway. So I'm thinking we're going to look to sell him. And this other player here, this is someone we have out on trial. This was someone I was looking at when we were looking at Dreer or Dryer, or however you pronounce that. He's a good centre-back. It would be a backup option. We still have him alone for a little while yet, till the end of the month, pretty much. It's till July 28th, and we're the 12th of July now. So I haven't decided fully yet. I'm thinking, depending on wage demands, we might look to keep him. The other player, we do have a second defender in on loan, which is a younger player, Jordan Holland here. He's higher potential, but obviously younger as well. I might even look to keep both of them. He's come from Liverpool, so we'll see on that front. We've got a couple of friendlies coming in now, so we're just trying to have a look at them, see if we want one or both of them. The other thing I'm looking to do is to sell Usi Tutu. The reason being, he's a third choice right back. He's worth a couple of million. And with Dryer, we can use him as a third choice right back. I'd be more than happy to use him as a third choice. So I'm thinking we could maybe look to save ourselves a little bit of money, get a little bit more in on the transfer front as well, on the transfer kitty, by getting rid of Usi Tutu. So we'll see what happens there. He's not going out on loan though, teams. I can tell you that for free. But anyway, the big takeaway from this is that Uche is happy. Okay, more breaking transfer news. We have signed Jordan Holland on a permanent deal, $1,000 a week, which is a little bit more ideally than I would have liked to have paid him. But the more I looked at him, he's a decent enough physical player. He's really, really strong mentally for an 18-year-old. The marking is the problem, isn't it? If there's one thing, but we can try and work on that. Composure and concentration aren't great either. But we're getting him on a free, so I think it's okay. And like he's come through Liverpool. It's not like he's come through like a bad club and not played. You know, we've had a good track record with Liverpool players, if we're honest with ourselves. So, you know, with Jones and Brewster and whatnot. So I think, let me know what you think. I think he's a good, solid prospect. He could potentially, I don't think he's not a right winger, he could potentially step into midfield. I don't think passing is good enough for that either. But I think he's worth the risk. I do think he's worth the risk. And, if we sell him on, we should make a profit on him in any case. So there we go. Jordan Holland is now a Hearts player. We have accepted a bid for Usi Tutu, 1.4 million plus 50% of his next transfer. He's only young, so I think there is maybe some value in that. I do really like him. As I said it right at the start of the episode, he did really well for us when he played last season. I just don't think we need a third choice right back of his. Not we don't need one of his quality, but of his value, I guess. The one thing I am looking to do, and it's proving to be really difficult, I would like to get a big striker in, just you are going to score us goals against the very, very best teams in Europe. I'm having a little bit of trouble doing that. The thing is, I don't want to sign too many players because we still have a young team and everybody's still improving, so if we sign nobody this summer, well, we've already signed people, but if we were to sign nobody, we would still be a better team next season than we were the past season just through development. So I'm trying to bear that in mind when I'm looking for players here. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm not done yet, though. I'm still looking for players. Okay, big breaking transfer news here now. There's one in, one out. The out is Usi Tutu. We'll get to that in just a second. But the in, we have signed Carlos. One name, Carlos. You can see £4 million. We've got him with an absolute snip, potentially rising to $6 million if he gets 50 goals in 50 games for us. Wages, $8,000 because he's a foreign player, so it's the minimum that we can get him for there. You can see all the bonuses, just the usual bonus structure I go for. 20, 30 goals for a striker, team of the year, top goal scorer, all that sort of stuff that I usually go for. Now, I think this is the man I was looking for. Let me know what you think. Physically, really, really solid, just solid. Excellent dribbling and good finishing as well. Off the ball is fine for a youngster. Composure is pretty good. What I think we're lacking when we play in the big European games is just sort of that X factor that can sort of create and score a chance. Dribbling of 18, finishing of 16. He can head the ball as well. He's not terrible heading. Passing is not the best. He's not going to sort of play anybody in. But just that little X factor, I think he could do well. We could also play him out wide. You can see as an inside forward or a winger. He's not going to cross many balls in, but he could, cut inside and run in perhaps. I think we've done really, really well. He's already valued at $9 million, so we've got him at an absolute steal. He's still going to improve, though potentially not maybe that much. But even if this is what we get with that dribbling and finishing, I think I'm pretty happy with that. So everybody meet Carlos. Now the out, as I said, if we go and have a look at transfers, because we do have a few outs, I think. Usti Tutu to Middlesbrough, $1.4 million. He's got a big pay rise out of it for himself. We'll get 50% of his next transfer. Now, given he's only 24, there's a chance that he could move on for money. Though he's only signed a 3-year deal, so perhaps not as a rotation player. But, worst case scenario, we've got $1.4 million for him. And he was a good player for us. Let's not pretend he wasn't. He did really, really well. So often, so many players that we've sold here, we've just moved past him. The other one was Sean Ward, one of the youngsters that came through the academy. He was 21 now. He wasn't really going to make it for us. So again, $35,000 is not too much off to Kilmarnock. But again, we got 50% of his next transfer fee. And there will be a transfer fee, I think, because he's a decent enough young player. So I think he'll improve and... I think he'll probably move on for a profit. So there we go. If it just move on, it doesn't matter if it's a profit or not. That's what we have so far. It's July 29th. We're getting towards the beginning of the Premier League or Premiership season. So I don't know if there'll be much else. If there is, we'll come back. If not, we'll come back and wrap things up. I think we're just about out of money. We'll have a quick look at the finances. We've got $4 million to spend. We can see we're just over the wage budget. If I can get out some of the crap in the reserves, aka Rossiter and this Balkan guy that we just really, really regret signing, that's going to get us back on budget. So I might even just look to just release them perhaps. I might offer mutual termination just to get them out the door. But that's where we're at. We're doing okay financially. I think we're doing okay on the field. We'll see what happens. Okay, I'm here. I've come as quickly as I can. What's going on, mate? What's going on? Slow down, take a breath, tell me. Who broke their leg in the reserve-friendly game? Oh, for f***'s sake, seriously? Here we are, 3 games out from the start of the season. I look to give Sean Clare 45 minutes in a reserve-friendly match just to make sure he's properly ready for the weekend, and he breaks his friggin' leg. 5 to 7 months. Obviously, we'll send him to a specialist, so it's 5 to 6 months. We'll have a word to him, but needless to say, it's not the start to the season we wanted. So we are at opening game, the first weekend of the season. So this is obviously where the transfer special must stop. We've seen everybody that we signed and let go. We've spent 6.75. We've brought back in. We've sold 2.2. So we've net spent about, about 4.5 million, which isn't too bad. Obviously, the two main ins in Dreer and Carlos, and then a couple of other squad players there for us. Let's have a look at the squad that we have ready for the start of the season. Now, obviously, that Sean Clare injury messes things up a little bit. Strikers, we know Lancaster can play up front, and he's probably a good option to put up there, actually. But the main guy I think we're looking at this year is Carlos, one of the new boys. I think Innes Cameron, we know what he can do. He just didn't do it last year. Uche is just hopefully going to continue to be a god amongst men. You'll see he did sign a new contract, so we've got 3 more years of Uche, which is excellent stuff. $6.5 a week for him. And we've got McNeil as well. I may look to send out on loan just to try and make sure his development doesn't get stunted, because he's probably 4th choice of the strikers. So we may yet look to send him out. Obviously, the transfer window hasn't closed. We've got about a month to go yet. If we look on the left now, obviously, we are without Sean Clare. At this point in time, I'm not going to go and sign somebody. We could maybe do a 6-month loan, but what I think we're going to try and do, we're going to try and get past. We know Lancaster was an absolute weapon out there, and we know that McDonald can play out there. He's left-footed as well. We have the youngster, Turner. I'm trying to look at this injury as, sugarcoat it. Maybe it's a good opportunity to give Anthony Turner some game time. He is potentially a 4 or 5-star player, so it may work in long-term benefit if we do that. And Brewster can play out there as well, but he's much more suited to the right. Speaking of the right, McDonald is apparently our best player out there, but he's not the one that's going to play out there the most. We saw last season Curtis Jones. He has an injury to start the season for the first few weeks, which isn't ideal, but we know that he was an absolute star out there for us last year. Lancaster can play out there. Brewster, though, is one of the main guys. Ep.80, who was, of course, one of the youngsters that we signed. We have 1 or 2 other youngsters on the right side that can play out there as well. So, again, we'll look to loan some of them out, and we will look to give some of the others first-team football. Centre of sort of in the number 10 role, we know what Lewis Hartford can do. He's an absolute star. I'm surprised we didn't get any bids for him this summer. So that's either good or bad, depending how you look at it. But he's settled. Wasn't sort of disrupted. He's worth 16 million now, so that's a really good sign. Curtis Jones can play in here as well, as can Sean Clare, though we know he's not going to be available for a while, as can McDonald, as can McLean. This is the youngster that we will probably look to give some more game time to this year. We also have, of course, Buckley, who did quite well whenever he played in there last season. Centre of midfield, now, it looks a little bit short when you see it like this, but I think what we have is we have 5 really, really good options for 2 spots, so we can basically rotate, domestic and European football, plus 1 other one. We know that, like Curtis Jones, Hartford, they can drop back in. There's a couple of guys that can step forward as well. But if we're looking at it, I think we have 4 even options. Andre Dozzell was quite good last year, wasn't he? Of course, the Golden Bullseye winner for best pass completion. Davey Turnbull is an absolute star, good penalty taker as well. Harry Cochrane, I think, is possibly our most underrated player. He is just crucial to what we do. He's the first name on the team sheet almost. Dominguez as well, back for another year on loan from Real Madrid. Hopefully he'll do well. And Aaron Hickey, he signed a contract extension as well. He's a useful player for us to have. So he's going to be around, you can see there, for at least another 2 seasons. And then we have the youngster here, Atkinson, who can play if we need him to. He would do a job in the Premiership against sort of the lesser teams, but God bless him, he's just not going to be much more than that, is he? If we look at the centre-backs, he who is still here so far, he hasn't kicked off again. There's been lots of bids coming in from Premier League clubs, but none from Bournemouth and none for the 24.5 million that we agreed to. So I'm hoping that this is just going to pass over and it's going to be fine. But we probably won't be using him in the first few games just to make sure that everything's going to be fine. But as things stand, he's here. He'll be probably first choice with Bobby Coping. He has been reliable for us. If we look a little bit further back, Porty O'Connor, it was a good solid option in there for us, as is, we know, Dreer, the new boy, big money signing. It's going to take a little bit of time to settle. He's only 18 to settle, learn the language, things like that. So we don't want to put too much pressure on him early, but he's a good player for us. Well, hopefully he will be. Archie Proctor as well, another good youngster. I don't want him to get sort of left out of the team with the new signing, but we do have a lot of options right now. Luke Fitzgerald is sort of the 6th choice centre-back. And then, of course, we have the youngster that we signed, Jordan Holland, as well. Left side, left backs, we know that we have quality here because we have Greg Taylor, who's an absolute star. We have Dimitri Mitchell, who's an absolute star as well. And then we have McIntosh, who's back from his loan last season at Kilmarnock. I'm not going to let him go back out again this year because we're going to need him. Because as well as playing on the left, he can play on the right and then act as backup to our two main guys, Kieran Lang, who is continuing to develop into a wonderful, wonderful player. He's going to start second choice this year, though, to Darnell Johnson. He's been really solid for us there. So he'll start the season as first choice, but they're really battling it out this year. Dreer, as I said when I signed him, can play out there, which is good. But of course, McIntosh as well. And Holland, it says he can play out there. I tell you what, we'll just pretend we didn't see that because that's not happening. Goalkeepers, we have two really good goalkeepers and a backup. We know we saw one Amar last year. He was just really solid for us. So he'll start the season as number one. Maurice is a good, solid number two, so to speak. Yeah, less said about that, the better. And he'll continue to develop. So then we've got two good guys there. And then Harry Stone as the third choice. Solid enough. We're kind of sacrificing his development by keeping him as third choice, but needs must. We do need a good solid number three. I can say that, can't I? There's no such thing as a number three if you're being vulgar. Yeah, so there'll be the three main guys there. So that is your Heart of Midlothian team as of the start of the 23-24 season. Let me know, do you think we should go and get another left winger for the first half of the year, or do we just stick with it and give this game time to Turner? I am increasingly thinking that's what we need to do, and of course, as I said, we do have McDonald if we need somebody to more experienced to step in, but that's what I'm thinking. Anyway, guys, I know these episodes can go on a little bit long. If you have enjoyed that, please do hit thumbs up. Of course, subscribe if you're new. I'll see you on Monday for a brand new season. I can tell you we are playing Inverness and Glasgow Rangers in the first two games of the season. Let me know what you think of the signings of the squad in the comments. Like I say, there's still a month to go, so it's not too late. We will be able to still make some signings if we need to. But until next time, guys, enjoy your week, and I've been Aussieville, and thank you so much for watching. Take care.